Hey, friends, welcome back. It is episode 40 of the podcast. And I am just so grateful to all of you who are writing me, sending me DMs on Instagram, sending me emails, letting me know that the podcast has impacted you, that you found the podcast, how you found it, and how it is changing your mindset around alcohol. So please do know that I read all of your reviews, I read your emails, I read your DMs, and I truly do appreciate you sending that to me and sharing because sometimes it can feel like you are in a vacuum when you're an entrepreneur and a content creator. And, I have this lovely check-in every, day and week with my one-on-one clients and with my cohorts, but I don't always get to hear from all of you. And I really love that. So please keep that up. It's really special for me as I sit here and create these messages for you. And today we have a really important one. It's going to be a short but sweet little hit of a reminder and a transmission of one belief that will transform your alcohol free journey. Last week, we talked about the number one struggle I see with high performing, sober, curious women, and I gave you some solutions for that. And now I want to talk about the number one characteristic that most of my most successful, high achieving clients tend to have. And this is something that maybe they don't have automatically when they come to me, but it's something we're able to pull out of them very quickly in one-on-one coaching or group programs. But some of them do. They just have this sense that they are meant for something more. And I want you to hold that sacred with yourself for a second. Do you believe somewhere deep down, even if you feel a little cocky or a little big-headed for clarifying, do you believe that you are meant for more, that there must be something more to life than the existence you are living in right now? And that might sound very bold, but I know that my most successful clients sense deep down somewhere that they are meant for more than the life they are currently living. They know that they are meant for a life that is bigger and better than the endless stream of hangovers, boozy brunches, Sunday fun days. They know that they are meant for a life that is bigger and better than that slightly numb, escaped, dulled down feeling that they're getting every night when they have that glass of wine. They know that they are meant for more than that hazy feeling they feel for days after they drink. They know that they are meant for more than the intellectual capacity, than the relationships, than the friendships, than the professional expansion that they have so far achieved, even if it all looks pretty good on paper. Because let me tell you what, if you're like me and if you're like most of my star clients, you are doing pretty good in life. You are kicking ass. You are showing up and showing out, and people around you think that you're doing pretty magnificent. They think that you are a go getter. They think that you have it all figured out. But deep down inside, you know that there is something more for you. And that doesn't have to be a depressing thing like, oh, I don't feel like I'm achieving my potential. That's actually an impressive recognition that you know that you are meant for something more. That is something so brave for you to say because so many people get stuck on the plateau of good enough. Of I should just be happy. And I know it's so tempting to stay there. I know that it is tempting to stay there. I have kind of this like geographic frame that I use called the plateau of good enough. That's kind of the place where we get stuck. Then there's the pit of despair, the pit of rock bottom that we always kind of use as a measuring stick. Like, oh, well, I'm not at rock bottom. I should just be happy. But being stuck on the plateau of good enough is not a comfortable place to be. It's flat. It's flat. It's one dimensional. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel expansive. It doesn't feel brave. It doesn't feel, riddled in possibility where we want you, my friend, listener, person who has tuned into this podcast for whatever reason, we want you climbing the peak of potential. And that is something you cannot do if you are inebriated or hungover. That's not a choice you will make when you are in those states. You are typically going to stay on that plateau of good enough when you are drinking because that's all you have the cognitive and physical capacity to do. That's all you have the energy to do and achieve. And there is something within you that knows that you are meant to be climbing the peak of potential. And I know that once you get off this plateau of good enough and you start climbing the peak of potential, you'll realize like how easeful it feels for you, how natural it feels for you, how tapped in and exciting and exhilarating, and how much more you can see from this vantage point rather than staying down on that plateau with everyone else who is marching along and settling for good enough. And that doesn't mean that I don't want you to be happy and grateful for what you have now. No, I absolutely want you to have gratitude. But if you are starting to feel out of touch, out of sync, disconnected, unsatisfied, um, slightly apathetic towards the things in your life, be that your relationships, your emotionality, your career, your friendships, whatever it is, your day to day, your achievements, If you are starting to feel disenchanted by it and you sense that alcohol is keeping you stuck in this disenchanting place, you deserve to give yourself a shot and remove alcohol from your life so that you can have the energy, the grit, the tenacity, the motivation to start climbing up the peak of potential. And I know that if you do that, once you do that, things will start to click into place in life in a way that never seemed possible. It maybe seemed too good to be true. And I've experienced this in my own life, and I've watched as hundreds of my students and clients have experienced this as well. And of course, there's bumps along the roads. There's weeks and months even when you feel still not super congruent when you are on the peak of climbing that peak of potential. But the difference is that now that you've done it, you know that you have what it takes. And if you stay where you are right now, if you stay stuck, if you let yourself stay small and diluted and, just stuck in place, that's the best word I have for it, you are never going to know what it feels like to climb that peak. And that could just be, and it's just about stretching yourself. That could just be stretching your emotional resilience, showing up for some of those difficult emotions that you've used alcohol to numb down. That could be stretching your social barometer, stretching you into new social experiences that you've been afraid to explore on your own because you feel like you're too much of an introvert, or you don't know what you would say, or you don't know how you would navigate these specific situations. It might be stretching you into a new place in your career that you've always dreamed of going, but you've always been a little afraid to make that leap. And if we can get you to a place where you can say, you know what, I am so powerful because I've done one of the most powerful things, one of the most empowering things that there is, and that is I've decided not to drink in a world that's obsessed with booze. I promise you, we can get you to a place where you feel so unstoppable, where you feel like sobriety is your superpower and everything else is just icing on the cake. And this is a belief that my most successful clients have enrolled themselves in. Even if they don't believe it at first, even if they come to me in a state of discombobulation where they feel like their life is falling apart or they feel incredibly stuck and they don't know what's next. If we can get you from, I don't know what's next, but I know it's not this, I know it's not more of this, to, wow, I think that I am meant for something more. I think that I am meant for something bigger. I think that I am meant for something so tremendous in this life that my inner guidance system had to make me so uncomfortable that I had no choice but to jump off the wrong track and onto the right one so that I could explore this dream, even if I don't quite know what that dream is. And I promise you, we can get you to it. This is a phenomena so many of my clients are experiencing right now. They know that there is something else. They know that there is something more stimulating, exhilarating, a bigger impact they can have on the world, on their family unit, on their community, on their professional life, and they are starting to hunger for it. And you can't quite see that possibility when you're constantly diluting yourself. So the one belief that will transform you on your alcohol-free journey is getting out of what more is there to, if I'm asking that question, then the bolder way to ask that question is, what more am I meant for? Why am I feeling stuck? Well, maybe it's because I am meant for so much more, something so much bigger and better and grander that I can't experience with alcohol in the picture, that my inner guide had to create this discomfort in my body, had to create this sense of questioning, this sense of urgency in my body that's calling me to change my relationship with alcohol. And maybe it is actually just calling me up into my greatness, calling me up into the me that I was meant to be, calling me up into my next level self, calling me up into my destiny, into my authenticity, into my potential. And that, my friend, is a powerful, powerful belief to have, because once you have that belief and you harness it and you take action towards it, you will become unstoppable. And that is what I want for you. So if you are not quite yet there, I want to offer you just some mindset hacks to get there. So if you're in the place right now where you're kind of like, woe is me, I feel really stuck, I want you to start asking yourself, what would it look like if I were living a life that right now feels so fantastical that I almost feel silly even saying it? And if you can't quite get there, I want you to ask, what is the opposite of, what is the next best feeling? Not even what is the opposite. What is the next best feeling thought I could look to? What would it be like to be curious? Right now I feel stuck. What would it feel like to be curious and to start investigating, to start listening to podcasts, to start reading books, to start kind of going down little rabbit holes, exploring new realities for yourself until you can land on that thing that is meant for you? Most of you already know it. You're just afraid to express it. You're choosing practical routes to your potential, to your destiny, to your peak of potential. And I want to invite you to dream big, dream big when it comes to what your life could look like, how you could live your day to day, what you would be doing professionally, what your relationships would look like. Dream big. And I want you to believe that if your mind is able to conceive it, that it is possible for you, because your mind wouldn't plant these little possibilities in your mind, on your heart, if it wasn't something that you could actually have. So maybe it won't happen in exactly the way that you're imagining it, because I truly believe that often the grandest things that we can imagine are small in comparison into what we are actually capable of. And so just start there though. Just start with, what is the next best thing that could happen to me? What is the next best thing that I could achieve in my life? What is the next path I could explore that might bring me a little more fulfillment, that might make me a little more exhilarated than where I am right now? And I want you to start studying it. I want you to start surrounding yourself by people who are embodying it. And if you can't do that up close, I want you to clean out your social media, get rid of everyone who is not that, and start following the people who are. I want you to start inspiring yourself and seeing until you can truly believe it is possible for someone like you, and eventually for you yourself. All right, my friends, I hope that this was helpful. If this seems like a pie in the sky dream, you might be actually a really good candidate to work with me inside of one of my programs or my one-on-one coaching. This is one of my favorite pieces of my work, is stretching you into your potential and helping you get clarity on what exactly that is. I would say that right now in my private coaching, I'm doing this work with 95% of my private clients. We're working on, how can we discover your dream? How can we discover your passion, your purpose? Because sometimes we get so lost in exploring what we think we should be doing that we forget what it is that our soul was called on this planet in this time to do. And so it would be my pleasure to help you find that and help you explore it. And it never hurts to just hop on a call. So if you want to hop on a clarity call with me to discuss what that might look like to work together, either one-on-one or as part of one of my programs, I would love to do that. And if you're not ready for that, just keep hanging around here, keep lurking around, follow me on social media, hang out in my world a little bit. And I know that we are going to inspire you and motivate you to believe the truth that you are meant for something bigger than what is in your life with alcohol in the picture. You are. And I know that you wouldn't be here right now listening to this specific podcast, this specific episode, if that wasn't true. So my job is to keep believing it for you until you're able to believe it for yourself. And let me tell you what, friends, I am so resilient. I have so much space to believe this. I can go all day holding that vision for you. And that is my truest gift and contribution to the world right now. And I am so grateful to have you here on this journey. So I hope you enjoyed this shorty episode. We will catch you back here next week.